today we're going to go through, should you count your calories or should you count your macros? Which one is more important and which one is best for you? Well, before we get into it, we have a free guide for you that talks about this as part of one of the pillars of healthy living, tracking, which Robbie also teaches in your nutrition program.
Yeah, that's correct.
8-step,
Yes.
8-week nutrition program.
That's right, yeah.
So if you are interested in checking out these 3 pillars of healthy living, you can download the guide linked right below this video. It'll take you less than 3 minutes to read through it and start implementing it into your life today.
Cool.
And Robbie's contact information is also in that guide if you would like to work with Robbie on nutrition and calorie and macro tracking.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. What is the purpose of caloric tracking versus macro tracking? What is the purpose of both of these?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So
for calories.
well, first let's determine what is a calorie. A calorie is a unit of measurement for energy. Just tell us how much energy that we're using. So calories are how much energy that you're putting in your body. You can also burn calories. If you're trying to count your calories, what you're in essence is going to do is you're going to, yeah, I love it. So calories being a unit of energy, how much calories you burn versus how much calories you eat is ultimately going to determine your mass, how much weight that you have. So if you want to, if your weight is important, and there's a lot of reasons how weight can be very important to you. Could be your doctor's telling you that you need to lose 15 pounds. You may, like you, Johnny, you have something very interesting coming
Yeah.
up.
So I weigh 160 pounds right now, which from a metabolic and healthy standpoint for
It's
my
great.
for my height is great.
Yeah, but what are you trying to do?
So I'm running 100K in a few months.
Wow.
And I'll tell you this, the hardcore, like the really hardcore ultra runners of my height weigh somewhere around 140 pounds.
Yeah.
On like the high end.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is, because my body type is a little different, I am looking to drop 5 to 10 more pounds. So I'm gonna end up somewhere between the 150 to 155 weight range, and I feel really confident that that is gonna be a good place for me to be to successfully complete and have a very good time for my 100K.
And in order for you to do that, this is going to be the number one thing.
Yeah, it's going to be very important.
Also in school, if you're in high school, you're in college, and you're an athlete, primarily like wrestlers, fighters, when they're trying to cut weight, what do? It's all about calories. They're just trying to not eat what they're putting in. So they're trying to burn a lot of calories, and they're not trying to eat calories so they can just cut weight so they can go in and wrestle somebody. So it's the same thing what you're doing. You're trying to be more efficient with your running so you completely drop weight.
Yeah.
Now, some people are losing weight for health reasons.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of different reasons why you want to lose weight. Now, there's some people that want to put weight on. And I know that seems foreign to a lot of people, but I work with a lot of people that are trying to put weight on because they're trying to lift heavier. So the whole purpose, what they're trying to do is they're trying to eat more calories than what they're burning so they can gain weight.
Yeah, they want a surplus. I need to have a deficit over the next couple of months.
Yeah.
My goal date is about 2 months from now is where I want to be at 155 pounds.
Well, you've got that in the bag.
Oh yeah.
You already know what to do. You know how to do it.
I went from 100 and
Yeah.
God, I was at like 190 pounds.
Yeah,
I
it's
dropped
wild.
to 160.
Yeah. What's
in
nuts?
90 days.
I'll tell you this. What's nuts is look at the thumbnail on this video. Look at the thumbnail in the video and see what Johnny was and see where he is now. So,
That's true.
And Johnny did that ultimately through the 3 pillars. He used all 3 pillars to get there, but for weight primarily, you're going to look at your calories.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that you want to be better with your sports performance. Let's say that you want to change the composition of your body. Let's just say that you're not really concerned with what the scale says, but you would like to have more defined shoulders, or you would like more definition in your midsection. Well, we do that through blending the two just like on your weight loss or weight gain, you blend the two, but this becomes the most important one. Well, you blend the two, but this becomes the big focus, your macros.
And this is what makes it sustainable, because you can lose a lot of weight by having a caloric deficit. So that would mean that you are burning more than you're eating, or your input's lower than your output, so you got a deficit.
That's correct.
But you could be eating crap.
Yeah.
So you could be technically eating a donut every day.
Yes.
Like one donut every day, and you would most likely, unless you're a really small person, you would probably have a deficit.
Yeah.
You're most likely also going to get diabetes.
Yes, for sure.
And your body composition isn't going to be the best.
No.
That's where macros come in.
Yeah.
So I could probably lose 5 to 10 pounds extremely easily if I didn't care about my muscle mass.
Yeah, 100%. And your body fat percentage.
Yeah.
Or your sports.
I could just lose 5 to 10 pounds of muscle and I would be there, but I don't want to do that.
And that would also affect your sports performance. You know, so what, and ultimately, so what we're trying to tell you, what should you do? Well, neither one is going to be better than the other.
Yeah.
They work hand in hand. And Johnny in the video description has placed the 3 pillars. You got to check that out. And this breaks down why all of this is important. So we're not trying to tell you that one is more important than the other, but it depends on your goals, what your focus can be more geared towards. For me, when I first got into fitness, when I first started attacking my body composition, I weighed 150 pounds and I was at 19% body fat. So I was very skinny, but I was fat. Even though you'd look at me and you'd be like, oh, you're skinny, but it was all body fat. Well, I put on 30 pounds and my body fat dropped down to 11%.
That's amazing.
So I dropped 8% body fat, but I put on 30 pounds of mass. So it's ultimately blending the two together, but you have to look at what's important to you. Most bodybuilders, for example, they pay attention to this and they're making sure that they're at a slight deficit or slightly, they're right around there. But this is the most important thing to them, is getting the protein in.
Yeah.
Now for you, you've got your race coming up and you're shifting gears because right now, Johnny, what's your macros breakdown now? What does it look like? Like today.
As close as possible to a third.
Yeah.
This is a little higher, you know.
So Johnny is now effectively, when he moves into his training for his it's an ultra, right?
Yeah.
So when Johnny moves into his ultra, what he's doing is he's obviously going to drop calories. He's going to limit his caloric intake so he loses weight, but he is also going to attack this, because what are you going to do with your macros?
Well, I'm going to need carbs.
Yes.
But I also want protein because I don't want to lose muscle mass.
Yes.
So all of this is probably going to decrease, but most likely fat is, and this is just in my case because I need the carbs for training. Like fat isn't bad. Fat is extremely good for your brain if you're getting the right fats.
The good fats.
And it's really good for taking in those micronutrients as long as it's good fats. But this is probably, this would be the easiest macro for me to
kind of cut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
It's fat is 2-to-1 ratio.
Close to a little over 2-to-1.
Yeah.
But so effectively what Johnny's going to do is he's going to look at both of these to get there. But this becomes not as ultimately important as this guy because he's just trying to shed weight. Yeah. So he's trying to focus on this more than anything, but he's still playing into this. Yeah. Now for me, bodybuilding is very important. So for me, this becomes number one and this is secondary, but that doesn't mean that I don't look at this.
Yeah.
I pay attention to this, but it all blends together. So is it more important to count your calories? Is it more important to count your macros? Well, they're both important, but it depends on your focus.
Yeah. You kind of need both, because if you just counted calories, then you could be eating complete crap.
Yeah.
If you just counted macros, then you could have some weight shifts that you weren't expecting. For example, back in 2022, when I was getting into marathon running and ultra running for the first time, I had 2 or 3 marathons planned. And I was focused on a vegetarian diet. So
Oh, wow.
I was really heavily here, and I was trying to get as much protein as I could, but the sad thing about vegetarian diets and protein,
Tough to get there.
yeah, it's super hard because the protein to calorie ratio in foods that are, vegetables and plant-based just isn't very good when it comes to comparing that to like chicken. So if you look at chicken and you look at tofu, there's a lot more calories in a gram of protein in tofu than there is in a gram of protein in chicken.
Oh yeah, not even close,
Yeah.
right? It's
Oh, yeah.
a lot, very different.
And something I learned recently, I forget where and from who, is that the protein in plants is caught up in the fiber of the plant.
Yeah.
So even if you have 10 grams of plant protein, is the equivalent of having 6 grams of actual protein. Because about 40% of it isn't even going to be absorbed into your body because it's stuck in
The fibers.
Yeah, it's stuck in the fibers.
Yeah.
So in 2022, when I was only focused here, I did not calorie track at all. I put on 20 pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
I was eating pretty healthy actually, because
Yeah.
I was focused on a lot of plant-based stuff. I was eating pretty healthy, but I put on 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Now I focus here first, but I make sure that I'm getting my macronutrients in order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are. They're ultimately partners.
Yeah.
You can't do really one without the other. Now you can, but it's not going to be optimal for your health, and it's certainly not going to be optimal for sports performance. And if we're really focusing on how athletes with asthma should be able to be very high level in their performance, using both of these together is going to be key, which returns us back to, in the video description, Johnny's pillars of success. They're cornerstones. In my nutrition programming, these two are the big cornerstones, but that's just in my nutrition.
Yeah.
Very important on both ends of them. They're beneficial in each their own way.
So where should you start? Well, if you're trying to lose weight, calories is really the shortcut. But if you want to keep that weight off and be metabolically healthy, you gotta do this too.
Yeah, it's all important.
Yeah.
It all fits hand in hand, just like this handshake right here. That's how they go together right there, don't they, Johnny? We're making moves over here.
We are.
We're doing it. Just love it. I love the board. I love the information.
Definitely check out the Healthy Living Guide, the 3 pillars of healthy living. One of the 3 pillars is tracking. Another one is accountability. This is my accountability partner right here.
This is mine.
I've learned all of this from him,
Oh.
so you definitely got to check him out on Instagram.
Yeah.
And probably work with him on this.
Yeah, I would love it too.
We'll see you in the next video.
We can't wait.